Hi everyone, welcome back to Dimitra's Dishes. So today I'm going to be teaching you a very popular dish that was available at our cafe while we had it. And this is especially for Amy James Crafts, one of our beloved guests and friends from the restaurant. She's been asking for this recipe for probably like 2-3 years now, and I'm sorry it took this long, but here it is. It's our basmati rice that's flavored with roasted onions and cumin seeds. It's so simple. It's a side dish, but it can easily be turned into a main by adding some chickpeas, and you could even do other vegetables in there. But I'm gonna teach you the basic recipe, the one that we would serve at our cafe. And I'm also gonna throw in a little bit of make ahead tips and tricks in there. So let's go over the ingredients and then we're gonna get started. So over here I have 2 cups of basmati rice that I've soaked in water, and I've also rinsed the rice until the water ran clear. I have some cumin seeds that we're going to use, a little bit of salt, an onion, some olive oil, and a little bit of water. That's all. I'm going to slice this onion over here. Now you can make this 2 ways. You can roast a tray of onions, meaning you can slice 3 or 4 or 5, whatever fits in a half-sheet baking pan, and slice them very thin. Drizzle some olive oil and sprinkle some salt on top of them and pop them in a hot oven, I would say between 425 degrees Fahrenheit to 450 degrees Fahrenheit, and bake them in there until they're really beautifully golden. The darker they get, the more brown of a color that they'll give to your rice. Now you can keep it as dark as you like. Just make sure you don't over bake them, because if they burn, then they're just going to be straight up bitter, and that's what you don't want. You're looking for about a nice golden brown color, and you're going to have some light onions and some dark ones, and this is actually the way that I like it. You can go a little bit darker if you wanted to, like maybe more towards the caramelized look, but this is perfect. We're going to puree it in the blender later on with a little bit of water, and you can keep that frozen in your freezer, obviously, and just take out a little bit at a time as you need it. It's fabulous for soups. I was supposed to talk about this after, but anyway. So you could do it that way. If you have the onions on hand and you made this ahead of time and you have a batch in your freezer, then you could skip the step that I'm doing. But if you wanted to make it right now, like immediately after you're done watching this video, what you're going to do is you're going to take an onion and you're going to slice it finely. You don't have to chop it up, because this is also going to get pureed. Put it in your pot. We're going to put it over our heat. It's going to be really high heat. And we're going to put about a 1/4 cup of olive oil over that. Season with a little bit of salt. And I'm going to cook these onions for about 15-20 minutes. Now, since I started off on high heat, and then I'm going to reduce the heat to about a medium so that they don't burn, because you want them to get really beautifully caramelized and golden, and that happens when the heat is a little bit on the lower side. But I always started off really high. So that's going to happen. Once they're golden, then we're going to move on to the next step, which is pureeing. So after about 15 minutes of the onions and the oil cooking over the heat, this is what they should look like. They get really beautifully caramelized. At this point, we're just going to take this whole mixture out, the onions and the oil. I'm going to add a little bit of water to the mixture in the blender, and I'm going to puree it until it's all smooth. So now I pureed the onions, and I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of cumin seeds. And I'm just going to toast them in the oil. I reserved some of the oil and I didn't puree all of it. So I'm just going to toast these just for a few seconds until they get really nice and aromatic. Don't let them burn. As soon as you smell them, then they're good to go. Then we're going to add this onion puree that's going to add so much flavor. Just give it a nice mix. And then we're going to put our 2 cups of basmati rice, 2 teaspoons of salt, and 2 cups of water, or you could use vegetable broth, but I find that this has so much flavor it doesn't even need it. I'm actually going to even rinse out whatever onion is left in this mixer and get the rice out of the bowl that's stuck in there. Give it a nice mix. Now if you wanted to add some chickpeas in it, you should go ahead and add them before you put the rice in, and you can just toast them in the onion and cumin mixture just for a few seconds before adding the rice. I'm going to bring this to a boil, and as soon as it boils for a little bit, then I'm going to reduce the heat to low, cover it, and let it cook for 15 minutes or until the rice is cooked. So after 15 minutes, you can turn the heat off from underneath your pot. and then go in with a spatula or a fork and fluff it up, being careful not to smush it and break the rice. So I like to use these big flat spatulas like these rounded ones, or you can go in and use a fork. So just like that, this is one of the most easiest side dishes that are ready in really no time. This goes with almost anything. So you can serve this with any grilled meat. You could serve this with stewed vegetables, with anything, any meat that's braised in a gravy. I mean, really, you can just eat this with a salad and you'll be satisfied. It's so delicious. Let me give it a taste. Actually, I like to grind some freshly ground black pepper on top of mine. That's totally optional. You don't have to do that. And if I had a piece of feta cheese, you know I would put that on here right now. Look at that. You can just taste the onion. It's just perfectly caramelized, very flavorful. The cumin seeds just add just a delicious aroma in the back, and an earthy flavor. I don't know what's wrong with me today. Very delicious. You guys have to try it. Now, a few words about the roasted onions that I pureed over here. I put it in a little container, and I'm just going to cover it and freeze it. I can take this out whenever I want to use it. You can also freeze it in little ice cube trays, and once they're set, you can just go ahead and put them in a Ziploc bag and pop them in stews. You can put it in soups, or take a bunch of them out and thaw them out and make some of this rice. Whatever you do, go ahead and make a batch of this and keep it in your freezer. Handy dandy, adds lots of flavor to any dish. I do this with garlic as well, and I have a video on that, on roasting a tray of garlic. It is a lifesaver when you want to add flavor to a meal. Thank you guys so much for spending time with me today. The recipe, as always, will be in the description box down below, as well as on the website, www.dimitrasdishes.com. Hit that subscribe button and let me know what you want to learn how to make in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, everyone.